Hey, it's Julie Gardner with Rise Up Wealth. And what are we all about at Rise Up Wealth? Just ignore the lady over there that's super cute. We'll get to her in a minute. Rise Up Wealth is about educating you on how money works and helping you get some tips on how to make your money grow and work for you. Let's elevate your income. Let's elevate your financial status. I don't care if you're middle class or not. We can still bump you up to upper middle class. We can increase you by 10 or 20%, but elevating is so exciting. And then how do we even get there? Well, some of it starts here in our head, and we've got to edit those money stories because the story you're telling yourself may be keeping you from a raise, or it may be sabotaging you from keeping the money that you have. Let's not do that. So I have my awesome mother, my older twin, not too much older, but my older twin. Isn't she cute? Look at our cheeks. We're so adorable. Go ahead, Mom, do this. There we go. That's so funny. Oh, we did not plan that. But this is my awesome mom, Marilyn Logan, also grandma or Mama Logan, whatever you want to call her. Just call her and say, hey, she'll go to lunch with you. But she is in my home base of Florida and I'm in Alabama. So pardon our Southern accents. But it happens. But I asked my mom to join us today because she has raised me in church, and it doesn't matter which flavor church it is. I mean, as long as, well, we like God and Jesus to be chatting there, but we just grew up in church, and there's all kinds of different stories around money. There's all different things that happen in church, and I'm sorry if the church is being a little crazy when you were there. I'm sorry, and we can chat about that later. But there are some principles that we've learned, and on this stream, we're talking about tithing today. And I called it the hack of money flow because I have learned from living when my parents tithed, and they taught me to tithe and give. And then my husband and I started to tithe. And when we put, the whole principle is about putting God first and honoring God and thanking God that he gave us the ability to create wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18, I think, says he gives you the ability to create wealth. Yay. Thank you. And it was funny. I remember one time my husband was like, have we paid our tithe yet? And I'm like, I don't think so. He goes, well, let's not mess up our mojo. Now, is that proper theology? I don't know. I don't care. But I will say that as we have honored God, money has flowed in our lives. And so I wanted to invite my mom in here because maybe you could think a new thought today about tithing. So, hey, Mama.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. So, tithing. I would love to hear, what were you taught growing up as a kid about tithing?
I really wasn't taught about tithing. At my church, we gave our offering envelope every Sunday, and my dad gave us our allowance of $1 and 10 dimes. They never see a dollar bill. And we would put our dime in our tithe in our envelope, and we'd check tithe. We weren't taught, it was just how we lived. We didn't, that's just the way life went. It wasn't a big deal. You just gave. And you did. I never knew not how to do it. And when I married your dad, he did not know anything about tithing. He
grew up in a Catholic family.
Yeah.
That was very faithful and attended on a regular basis.
Very faithful. They did not. His mom made $45 a week sewing sleeves in children's clothing, and once a month, 1 week out of the month, she only made $25 because she had to pay for her insurance, her health insurance. So they depended on love offering. I can't say it was love offering. They depended on gifts from church. Church helped them. They were very good. He tells the story of when he was playing football in high school, that the football team was taking Thanksgiving baskets out to the home of the needy, and his home was one of the homes of the needy, and delivering a Thanksgiving basket. And I don't remember if he told fessed up that that was his home. I don't remember, but he will tell you God provided for them through his growing up years. His mama would step on a $20 bill going to church. He said, that had to be God. Nobody else could have done that. So, but he didn't understand tithing, but his mom always put something in the basket when it went by, be it 50 cents or maybe $1, but nothing more than that. It was never a consistent amount, but they knew where their help came from.
I think it's interesting because Dad didn't grow. He was raised by a single mom, and he had
Yes.
2 other siblings, and I think the age range is 4 years, 5 years.
There's 8 years
8 years.
between
Okay.
John,
Yeah.
between your dad and your uncle.
Right.
And there's
So
a sister in between.
So 8 years was the span of those kids. And I think it's interesting that he had a faith even then, and he saw God
Oh,
miraculously
they never missed
provide.
going to church. They had a
Yes.
strong faith.
Yes.
And it was different than mine. We were a different brand of church, but faith is faith.
Yes. Yes. And I love that. And then, so when you two came together, and oh my goodness, if anybody's engaged on this, watching this, y'all need some premarital counseling on how money works.
Oh,
Yeah.
nobody
like
pre-married. We didn't get any premarital counseling.
no, but
We
it
didn't know
could
how anything worked.
right, but it could have helped, right? It could have helped.
It would have helped a lot. And I'm not seeing people get premarital counseling. I've done wedding coordinating at church for 35 years, and none of the ministers at my church would marry you unless you went through counseling. And one of the counseling subjects was finance, because the only really serious time I thought about leaving John was over money. It was a money situation, our lack of.
Yeah. Yeah. Money happens. It happens daily. Money and food happens daily. So it is
Yes.
important to at least be able to have a conversation. But anyways, that's another story. So you two came together, and so y'all were married how long were y'all married before you decided to have the conversation about tithing, and then actually?
Well, John met Jesus in 1975, and he had become a Christian. He was baptized, but we got saved, and 2 weeks later we got a job that increased our income, and we had to move back to our hometown of Jacksonville. And John was baptized there in my church there, and he was so excited with all the blessings God had for him. And that's when he really realized how much God had done for he and his family. That's when it started coming alive. We went out to dinner one night with a couple from our church, and we didn't have a lot. We lived in an apartment, and we were fine. I mean, I used laundry baskets for y'all's toys. Worked good. People came and you threw it in the laundry basket and threw it in the closet. So we went over to this couple's house for dinner, and John was looking around. He says, "How do you have so much?" Because he knew who Sherwood worked for, and he knew what he made. And Sherwood said, "Well, it's one of the blessings from God." And Sherwood set him down and explained to him about tithing. And these were just friends of ours. And when he told your dad that tithing was one of the blessings from God, that night we came home from that dinner, and what attracted him, they had, I guess, their furniture match. Let's just call it like it was. We took hand-me-downs. And maybe their match. I don't remember. That's too far back.
That's bougie in the 70s for when your furniture matches. You're bougie.
Probably was. It matched. Yeah. But John came home that night, and he said, I want every blessing God has to give, bar none. And he asked me about tithing and what it was. And I'm a numbers girl, and I took our paycheck, and we first started tithing on the net. I said, we should give, this is what we get in our house, and we should tithe on the net. Or I didn't call it the net, on what our paycheck was. You know, you make 100, but you only bring home 80. So we were
Facts.
tithing on
Yeah.
that 80. And down the road, when we started our own business in January, well, really December, John and I would sit down and say, we need to make X amount of dollars for the next year. And that's what we tithed on, our future earnings, because we were business people then. But, and he had to make his own mind up. He started tithing on the gross. I think that's something everybody has got to make their own mind up. But he saw what God gave you, not because he tithed, but when you serve God and tithing's part of that pie. You're serving God. That changed his. We never had a discussion about it after that. We just always tithed.
So in Deuteronomy, it's not the most exciting chapter to read or book to read.
No, it's one of the laws.
Yeah. It's not, it's like, I don't want to be a lawyer because I don't want to read. We always skip through the new terms and agreements, right? Whenever we get our Apple terms, we just skip it. So Deuteronomy is definitely that. But in, I think, Deuteronomy 28, it talks about if you follow God, here's the blessings. If you don't follow God, these are the curses. Take it how you want it. I do think God will kind of like highlight to you. Like, I really am intuitive, and when things resonate with me, like everything's up and it's brighter and it's just peaceful. So, and then when things aren't right, it's like it feels icky and anxious. So, you know, I don't know how you talk to God, but that's how I do. I'm very feeling when I do it. And sometimes some people are just like, that's what it says in black and white in the Bible. It's happening. But I would encourage you to read Deuteronomy 28 and go, hey, does this work for me? And it says that he will protect your, basically, they're farmers back then. So he's going to protect your tools and your sheds. And he's going to make sure, because you know what? Things happen. And I don't know why there's natural disasters. I don't know why there's tornadoes. But I have seen, or we don't see, all the protection that happens because you are willing to go, hey, God, you're my source, and call it what you need to. You know, I know dyslexic call God dog. So did you get that? Dyslexic call God dog. So think about it. That's my little joke. But whatever you need to call them or talk
Remember,
to.
I raised a dyslexic boy, so I know that joke.
Or a yob, either one. So it, you know, he is my source. And I even see God as like this river that flows and where it all starts from him. And just because I acknowledge God as, okay, you're my source, that's the faith, that's the trust. And it is scary to start tithing. And you know, it's a faith building activity. And you know, you can say you have faith all day long, but until you actually put action with it, now it's true. People that say, oh baby, I love you, I'll do whatever it takes to stay with you. Well, pick up your socks, right? That would be a really great sign of love, right? So tithing is a way to just physically have faith in God and trust.
A young married couple living on a budget and they want to tithe, that's where they have to start talking about net or gross. And I know some pastors recommend maybe you ought to start instead of 10%. That's a tithe to me, because that's the tithe in the Bible. Start with 5%. Well, I didn't offer John that option. I told him 10% is what we do. That's what the Bible told me. I didn't know there were options back in 75. But you've got to talk it out. That's the key to that. Talk it out.
Okay, and my
because
mom,
what are you going to get rid of first when your money gets tight?
oh yeah, that's true. So, not everybody in the 50s worked, men and women. My mom did though. I don't know if it was just the 70s, and my mom was smart and
But I didn't work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday.
you could have though,
I could
but
have, but your dad and
together,
I worked it out. When
right.
you got 3 kids, 1, 2, and 3, it does not behoove you to get a job.
No, but I will say this is pretty awesome. In our previous video, we were talking about credit card debt. Sometimes you need to go tag, you're it, and then you got the kids, and I'm going to go to my part time
That's
job.
what we did.
Yes. And I talk to people, they're like, gosh, we're in debt. We'll go DoorDash. I don't know. Figure it out.
Go get a job.
Babysit. Yeah. It's a great job, by the way, at night is commercial cleaning. Be a janitor because that job can start at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So if you're
There
struggling,
are so many jobs out there. My little job, I have a little part-time job. I tell people I work so I can go out to lunch with my girlfriends on Friday. But I hold a sign at the airport. Come on, I'll show you where you go. But I got
and
a degree in interpersonal communication, so I've got a college education in that. I ought to use it, right?
you ought to use it. That's right. Yeah.
But
There's plenty to do.
everybody can fill a need. And
Mhm.
I worked in the evenings, and your dad took care of you 3 children. I don't think I gave you a bath the first 9 months you were alive. Your dad bathed you every night because I went out and worked.
Right. So there's things that you just kind of have to do. The other thing, too, if you are absolutely broke, I think you just have a chat with God and go, God, I'd love to tithe. What should I start with? And
Yes.
maybe he gives you $1 and maybe you find it in your pants and they're, hey, look, I found $1 in my pocket. Do that. Or maybe you look in your closet. I love the story. There's a widow with oil, and I think it's Elijah, and he says, what do you have? And the lady goes, well, I got oil. Well, he pours it out because God told him to. And he poured it out into all these jars that God said, hey, Elijah, tell her to get some jars. Hey, get some jars. So she goes and gets jars from her neighbor, and he starts pouring this oil. It's probably this much oil because she was going to make some biscuits, eat it, and die. That's all she had. She's like, oh, I guess I'm kicking it because I don't have any more food. Nope. Here comes Elijah. He's like, make me some biscuits first. So let's pour out the oil. And it just kept going and going and going. So that's a whole other story. But the point is, what do you have? Like right now, I have Mary Kay Cosmetics in my closet. Am I selling it? I do reorders. But if I needed to tithe, I could take 5 items off my shelf and donate it to charity. Of my husband, I think his hobby is collecting golf shirts. But no, he's a good steward because he finds them on eBay versus paying $60 to $100 at the golf shop. So he gets them on eBay as a deal. But we got like 40 of them. So sometimes I'm like, do we need all 40 of these shirts? Let's get rid of some. That could be a starting of the tithe because a lot of it starts with just your attitude of appreciation and recognizing God as source. But ask and try to do that 10%. And try doesn't actually mean do, but you really should do.
Well, that's your ultimate goal is to give
Right.
10%.
Right.
But, John was 27 at that time. He had never given that. Not that he was old, but he had to learn, that old dog had to learn a new trick.
Yes.
And we had to be on it. I know we've always taught Sunday school, and he taught college kids, he taught single women, singles, and they would come to us and ask us, well, my husband's not a believer, but how do I handle tithing? I said, you got a job, you tithe your paycheck, you don't touch his. And you don't yell at him about it, you don't brag about it. You just say, I feel God leading me to do this. And I think that's important in my life. Also, we're always if you're involved in a regular church, there's this thing called the nursery.
Yeah.
And we are begging people to serve in the nursery. Yeah, look at you. No, I'm not doing that. But you have
That's
no
not my
money to
gift.
give, and I'm looking for somebody to teach preschoolers from 9:30 to 10:30 in Sunday school. Well, there you go. Tithe
Yeah.
your time.
Oh,
Uh,
tithing your time for sure.
yeah, we all watch well, y'all don't anymore, but I watch Facebook, and there are these giving brothers, this family that goes and cleans junky yards,
Oh yeah,
and you've seen this man is raising his boys to help people with problems.
I love it.
He's giving his time, and
Yes,
it's taking them all day, and
yes,
they're doing it out of love.
yes. No, I
And
get what you're saying because I was coaching salespeople, and I was happy to coach 10 or coach 9 and give one away free. Yeah,
but we need to give our time. Um, I believe personally that my tithe, my first 10% goes to my church. That's my storehouse. That's where I get fed spiritually. That's where if I had a problem, they would help me.
mm-hmm.
That's my storehouse. But I like to help other people. I thought I tore up my caregiving
No.
badge, but my friends have not seen it. They think I'm still wearing it. So I give them my time helping my friends care, and I care give for them, help them, drive them someplace. Uh,
You give to
I
missions in New York City?
now missions, we don't even go down that path. Your dad and I've spent our last nickel on missions always. I've seen your dad give away the last $20 out of his wallet. He had a friend, his friend Vernon, and they love to go to the racetrack to eat hot dogs, especially because you get 2 hot dogs for $1. So those two big shots would go to the racetrack and they'd buy 2 hot dogs. They'd eat one and they'd give the other one to the homeless man out there. They didn't need 2 hot dogs. They didn't need 1 hot dog, but that was just another story for another day. But they would buy 2 hot dogs and always give one away. They gave because they loved. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's part of tithing, I think. I mean, you don't sit down and get your tablet out and post. Now, I gave away a 50-cent hot dog and a big gulp today.
Right, right.
Don't write
I
it
guess you
down.
could, but you don't need to.
But you could, but then you've missed your blessing. If you don't give cheerfully, then
Yeah.
why are you giving? You're
Well, and
wasting my time.
and talking about the flow too. Money is a tool and it's meant to flow. It's not meant to just sit in my checking account. If I keep my hand open, then God can put it in and he can take it out. But if God's my source, there's always more. And there's been many a times he has just kind of given me the thought of a picture of a giant storeroom full of treasure chests. Like, because there was one time I was worrying about money, and he was kind of like, it was kind of like he was going, excuse me, what, are you serious? And one of the best exercises you can do is just list out all and put your timer on for 5 minutes. How have I been provided for? And the list just goes on and on. I was over 5 minutes writing them down. And I just laughed at myself and like, yeah, why am I worried about this? Because when you're willing to give, then if you believe in a higher power and a source and someone that is full of love, why would he want us to go hungry? And he can trust me. Like, he's like, if I give John Logan 2 hot dogs, he's willing to give one away.
So he's going to give you 4 hot dogs tomorrow.
Yes.
I guarantee you.
Yes.
I remember.
So keeping that flow going is so important.
I remember we were a young couple living over in North Florida, and the couple across the street were of a different faith than us, but people in their faith in that area were farmers. And they would invite me. They saw me with 3 little babies, and they would invite me to go pick in their fields with them. And then we go to the next town over and can our food. They shared what they had with me, and I appreciated it. I enjoyed it. They are not of any kind of faith that I would want to particularly practice, but I had a great love for those women that shared with me, and I took it for what it was. They were loving me as a young mom, and they were showing me, they were sharing their faith. They were tithing their time to me to learn how to be a good young mother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good.
And that's important. I know it's not a big deal, but at that time, John had not met the Lord. And I guess they knew I was fixing to set his britches on fire when I left. When I left John, I was leaving him with the 3 children. I was going to Hollywood or something. But I guess I had that strained motherhood look on my face. But that's how they shared their time and love with me. And it was a tithe to me.
So I would
have never, ever, ever. I remember one year, John couldn't do his missionary offering at Christmas because he didn't have his money in his checking account. And he told me that December, he said, that'll never, ever happen again. From now on, every month, above and over our tithe, I want to give this much this year. I'm going to divide it out, and we're going to give it every month. So we have a big Christmas offering that goes to the missionaries, foreign missionaries. He said, I'm going to have that offering because that is most important to him. It was most important. It was to me too, but that's I think God has to show you sometimes where you're making a mistake.
Yeah.
And
so you had mentioned,
tell me how you can outgive God.
Oh yeah, no. The one that owns everything, that made you, that put air in your lungs.
When people talk about their family, I said, "Oh, my father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills," and they look at me like, "What are you talking about?" Especially at my job, where I work. A lot of non-believers. Oh, my father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it.
And just to tell on my mama, they've given to missions. They've given to people, just random people on the streets, and my mom and my dad. And they have also helped building funds with churches.
I'd like a refund on some of that.
That's a whole other story. But
no, but we never questioned it. We just always gave.
Right. And so she's trusted. And then, here she's a senior adult. She has a job because she wants a job, not because she has to have it.
There's nothing on TV.
No, there's nothing on TV. But it's interesting because, we all wonder, are we going to have enough when we retire? And what will we live on? And will I have to eat dog food because there's no money? I think it's fascinating how God has just always taken care of them. And not to even get into the specifics, but let's just say it's worked out. They put 5 people in through college at the same time. So there was no debt.
We've got 4 BSs, we got 2 masters, and we got 2 specialists, and we might be getting a doctorate soon.
Yeah. Don't you love that? What did you say, 3 or 4 BSs? That's a lot of BS in a family.
In our family, we're done. But what's really interesting about that whole scenario, y'all were about 35 in your late 30s before you thanked your father for paying your way to college.
Yeah.
Because you realize you're the only one of all your friends that wasn't in college debt.
Oh, and here's a fun financial tip. They use their I thought they just did better in their business. No, not true. You did fine in your business, but I don't know if you want me to say this, Mom. Say it anyways, because it's a great technique. They use their insurance money and cashed out their insurance policy to pay for our schooling. And that's what an index universal life can do. Instead of putting your kid in a 503, I think it's 503C. No, that's it.
I think it's 529.
It's 529. I always get it wrong because I talk to people about 503B, which is nonprofit. The 529, instead of putting your kid in the state fund, you can actually do an index universal life. And then if the kid wants to start a landscaping business, no problem. Cash it in. You got it. So it's a lot more flexibility. And
flexibility is important because when you get married and what you promise on the altar is not what's going to happen 5 years down the road, 10, your dad and I were married 52 years. And what we promised on the altar was definitely not what was going on at 52 years.
You didn't know. You didn't know what you were
don't
getting
know.
into.
And your dad and I knew once he came to have a personal relationship with the Lord, he knew God would take care of us.
Yeah.
And we raised you 3 children to give back to us. You saw us demonstrate tending to our parents and giving to, we never had to give them money, but we gave them a place to live. We gave them love. We gave them a lot. And not financial stuff. We were there for them. And you've seen us demonstrate that. And I know that you 3 love us and you have given back to us. And not money, you've given us your time. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have gone through what we went through without y'all giving time to us. And that's important. If you don't demonstrate to your kids how to give and how to love, what do you expect from those G-Haws?
100%. Well, Mom, thank you for sharing your perspective of tithing. Y'all, I hope you enjoyed her. She is such a delight, is she not? She is available for you to take her to lunch whenever you're in Central Florida. Just let her know ahead of time. She'll write your name on a board and greet you at the airport.
Oh, yeah, I will.
And so thank you, Mom.
But I won't go to the theme park with you.
Oh, no, not at all.
I'll point to the 417.
Oh, we did talk about this verse before we got on the call. Malachi 3, 10. And some people like to call it Malachi. So whatever it takes. But what does it talk about, Mom?
It tells you, and this is what I lean on, what your dad and I bring the whole tithe in the storehouse that you will be, oh, wait a minute. You are under, wait a minute. By the grandson's calling.
Someone's already
calling the storehouse. Hey, there may be food in my house.
Someone's already calling you for lunch.
Hang on a minute, Cooper.
Say it all over again.
See if he will open the floodgates of heaven and pour out more blessings than you know what to do with.
Yeah. So test God. Don't rob him. So if you've never tithed before, test him and bring all your tithe into the storehouse. And he'll just bless your socks off.
All right. Now, we've been on this for an hour. I got to talk to my grandson. I forgot what he looked like. He's in the 9th grade.
Hold on. So if you guys want to, if you have stories of how you are like, God, I'm not sure about this, and you want to tell us about it, email me here, and we will connect with you, and would love to hear your story of how God has blessed your socks off. And if you have any questions about all this, hey, and if you don't agree with any of it, it's okay. No big deal. We're just sharing with you our ideas to rewrite those stories in your head. Have a great day. Be amazing. She's already off, and we've lost my mom to a grandchild now. So bye, Mom.